Hey guys, Bruno here with Warehouse for another Formula One track preview. Fortunately, we missed out on the Brazilian Grand Prix. Some things came up, but we're back again now for the Qatar Grand Prix. It's going to be a very interesting race. It's a very interesting track. This is a track that's really only used for motorcycle racing. So to see the Formula One cars, obviously there's other kind of cars that race on there, but we've never seen Formula One at Qatar. So it's going to be quite interesting. This is a new track for Formula One. Looking back at last weekend though, oh my God! Probably the most intense Formula One race I've seen in a while. An amazing drive by Lewis Hamilton to bring him back into championship contention. It was quite impressive to watch him go from last on the grid in the sprint race all the way up into points-paying positions with the five-place grid penalty, going back to P10 for the feature race. And coming back to win, even after Max did that little push. I think it was a very dirty move from Max. I don't know how the FI didn't penalize him, but it was really intense. That was the most invested I've been in a Formula One race for a very long time, and it just spices up the Formula One Championship standings at the moment. So I think it's 14 points or so between the two of them. So 3 races to go. It's going to be very interesting. I have no idea how it's going to go for this weekend though, because Qatar, again, like I said, is a new track for Formula One. But let's go get into it. We're going to take you around the lap of Qatar. This is you can see it's deserty, not a lot of reference points, but going into turn 1, bringing in about the 400-meter board, at least in the settle course that we were using here. Very important to get the car down up to the apex as early as you can, and try to hug it as much as you can to avoid a lot of understeer initially in the corner. Turn 2 is pretty tight, but as I started doing some laps, I saw you could kind of apex a little bit earlier, let the car drive out wide on the exit, bring it back about mid-track, and it's going to be an easy flat out for turn 3 here. In the modern day Formula 1 cars, not even a lift, I wouldn't think. And then going into turn 4, pretty quick 90-degree corner. Carry as much speed as you can initially, and then it tightens up for the second one of turn 5. So you got to get back on the brakes, make sure the car gets down on the apex before you get back on power. Turn 6 is probably one of the tighter corners I've seen around here. So a little bit of a later apex is what we're aiming for, so we can get a nice run out before heading into turn 7, which is a pretty technical corner here. So as you'll see, I like to stay out a little bit wider, late apex, kind of avoid the curb initially, focus on getting the car rotated, and you want to get a nice straight line exit because the corner on the left kind of comes back at you. So you got to be careful you get a straight run and you're not like pushing out wide and going over that left-hand curb. Then skip a couple corners, we're back. You can kind of early to mid apex, turn right here and just let the car run out wide, lots of runoff to use, but the corner kind of continues swerving over to the left, so take advantage of that. And then into the high-speed part here, so it's a triple apex, almost flat through the first one, downshift, tiny lift for the second, and then as you go into the third of the right-handers, a little bit more on the brakes, get the car slowed down. That outside curve is going to come back at you pretty quickly, so you got to get the car situated. Second to last corner, you can carry quite a bit of speed early turn-in just to get the car to turn and rotate, with quite a bit of runoff. More speed than you expect, and then heading into the final corner, late on the brakes. As I was doing some laps learning the track, I figured that the later the apex, the better. You got to be very patient on the power, or else you get off the track like I did there on the slow lap. So you got to be very patient with the car. Let it finish doing its rotation before you get back on the power, because it's a really quick corner, but at the end of the day, it's still 90 degrees, pretty tight. So you got to let the car work. It's pretty interesting to see. A lot of late apexes are needed. But then there's also a mix of some high-speed corners. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see if we get any lunges into the turn 6, turn 7, where the track really tightens up. And with the use of DRS on the front straightaway, maybe a move into turn 1. So I'm going to head off to a fast lap of the Qatar Grand Prix now, and you guys can check it out. Alright guys, so now heading into predictions. You saw the fast lap. I was really trying to learn the track as much as I could in a little bit there. Just first time I've ever driven Qatar. I think it's a pretty fun track. I'm interested to see how the F1 cars get along there. So heading on into predictions now. I don't know. I don't know from past experience what car has a better reputation around here because we've never been here before. So just total guess based on the fact that there are some really long straightaways. I'm going to go ahead and say Lewis Hamilton is going to win the race. Mercedes has a strong power plant behind them, especially after Lewis got a new engine after the last Grand Prix. So I'm going to go ahead. Lewis Hamilton for the win. Max Verstappen P2, and Valtteri Bottas P3. Bottas is showing some pace towards the end of the season here. I think he's trying to finish off on a high before he leaves Mercedes. And Max is just going to be pushing for that championship hunt. He's trying to continue growing his lead in the championship. So I don't know if he's going to have the pace of the Mercedes, but we should see. We'll see what happens. Mercedes is just really quick in a straight line. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all flares, how it all goes down. Lots of drama in the season finales as we get towards the end of the year. But we'll see what happens. Who's going to be the championship winner? Let me know in the comments if you guys have any predictions. And if this lap guide was helpful for you guys, also let me know any questions, comments, or concerns you may have. So we'll see you in the next one. Excited for Formula 1 at Qatar. It's going to be interesting to see a new track on the calendar. And enjoy the Grand Prix. We'll see you guys.